Hello Internet, my name is Zephyr, and real quick, how are you feeling? Everything good? Yeah? Okay, good. So, with Tron Ares being the first Tron film to come out in 15 years, as you can imagine, there's a lot of hype and anticipation. The visuals look stunning, and the soundtrack is done by Nine Inch Nails. But for how exciting it is that we're finally getting a new Tron movie after all these years, there's just as much skepticism as there is hype. And for good reason. That's because this particular movie has made some questionable choices, like casting Jarod Leto as the leading role. Though I guess you could make the argument that he cast himself, as if it wasn't for Leto, this movie wouldn't have even been greenlit. But no, I'm actually talking about the strange non-commitment that this film is dealing with when it comes to the canonicity and following the previous Tron films. Director Joachim Ronin, I hope I'm saying that right, has stated in an interview that Tron Ares is supposed to be a soft reboot, not 100% connected to the universe so they can be able to do their own thing, along with various other things that don't inspire much confidence for this film. He kinda reminds me of a certain producer responsible for making all of the Transformers films confusing to follow along with. So why am I bringing all of this up? It's because I have a theory about Tron Ares that is going to really upset some people, and there's a lot of evidence to support this. So, let's dive in. Tron Ares depicts Ares as an anti-hero, a master control program created for the Dillinger system to serve as the ultimate soldier. Except the twist is that this is the first time we're seeing programs entering our world and interacting with humans on a large scale. It seems like a really cool premise, and it was always meant to be a story of the grid invading our world, but somewhere along the way, things have changed significantly. You see, though the grid invading the real world is a major plot point of this movie, it's actually Ares' role that changed dramatically. That's because Ares was originally meant to be the main villain, and just the main villain. No wanting to be human, no change of heart, and fighting for the users. You have to remember that this movie has been stuck in development limbo for the past 15 years and only got greenlit now with Jarod Leto obsessively pushing for it. And it's definitely had some rewrites along the way. The main elephant in the room is the alarming lack of the namesake character. The question everyone's been asking, where is Tron? One of the weirdest things about this movie is that there seems to be a very strange lack of Tron in what is supposed to be a Tron film. Now yeah, the franchise may be called Tron, but Tron himself was never the main character. He was always the protector who was there to defend the users. He was always this character of legend. But he is nowhere to be seen in this new movie. The thing concerning a lot of fans is that during interviews with the film's director Joachim Ronin, he inadvertently confirmed that Bruce Boxleitner will not be in this film to reprise his role as Tron. In fact, none of the previous cast will be returning except for Jeff Bridges. I don't think they're trying to set up a misdirect here either. Tron is pretty niche and doesn't have anywhere near the same pull as Spider-Man No Way Home, so I really don't think that Disney is trying to lie and keep Bruce and Garrett Hedlund's return as a grand secret. Though I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong, but it's seemingly more and more likely that they're just not returning, period. They're claiming that this is a soft reboot, which makes me believe that the exclusion of Tron is deliberate. The last time we've seen Tron was in the Sea of Simulation, right before Sam and Cora enter the real world, leaving his fate up to interpretation. Hypothetically, they don't need Bruce Boxleitner to come back, as they could just keep the Rinsler helmet on, allowing them to just cast anybody. But that's of course assuming that Tron and Ares will be separate characters. That's because I theorize that Ares will become Tron. So, how are you guys feeling now? Probably not as calm as you were when you started this video, but like it or not, there's just too much evidence that makes sense to support this claim. The change to make Ares a rogue agent, starting out as an evil character but ends up breaking free and becomes the good guy, the lack of Tron and any other returning characters from the franchise, and the smoking gun. In some of the most recent TV spots, he can be seen with mysterious extra circuitry on his chest. Consider this your one and only spoiler warning, because this TV spot is actually edited. In fact, Disney themselves had a big oopsie because for several hours they released an unedited version of this exact same TV spot that shows Ares with these exact same chest circuitry in white. And if for some reason you don't believe me, here are actual photos taken of the Tron Ares set, with Jarod Leto sporting this white circuitry. This really shouldn't shock anyone. It's so obvious this is going to be an anti-hero story where Ares turns good, but with the extra circuitry and his color going from red, which is typically depicted as the evil color in the Tron universe, to white, usually reserved for users and Tron himself, is very interesting. The only indication that he may not become Tron is that the new circuitry doesn't have the iconic T-shape that Tron is known to have. Looking back at Tron Legacy, even in his Rinsler form, he still had the T on his chest to let audiences know that this is supposed to be a corrupted version of Tron. But in Tron Ares, we don't have that here. The reason I believe Ares will become Tron not only has to do with him having second thoughts and wanting to become human, but mainly it has to do with the Permanence Code, which is going to end up being the movie's big MacGuffin. As the name implies, the Permanence Code is the code that would allow programs to live in our world permanently without the risk of derezzing after their timer expires. And as you can imagine, this would be the thing that would allow Ares to complete his transformation, but also being the thing that the Dillingers do not want anyone else getting their hands on. You see, I don't think there's a coincidence that we see Kevin Flynn's ghost in this movie in the 82 grid, and that we're going to get scenes in the original grid. I think that there is a significance to this permanence code, and I believe that this code is actually Tron's code. In the TV spots and some of the trailers for the movie, it looks like Eve Kim is the first one to discover the permanence code, who is actually an Encom employee snooping around Flynn's arcade. We know that she becomes a target of the Dillinger family and they deploy Ares and Athena to go after her. Well, this could be the reason why they deploy them to go after her in the first place. Because remember, we don't know when or how Ares is going to gain this ability. For all we know, it could be gifted to him by Kevin Flynn when he visits the 82 grid, but more likely, he's going to discover this power mid-fight with Athena. That is because I believe that at some point, Eve Kim will in fact give Ares this permanence code, and within that permanence code is Tron's spirit. It's his code. But hold on, because this theory gets even crazier. Since he takes a trip to the 82 grid, it's also reasonable to believe that Kevin Flynn also integrates himself into the permanence code, allowing Kevin Flynn and Tron to integrate themselves into Ares, creating the ultimate program. I know this theory is going to upset a lot of diehard Tron fans, and I personally hope that it doesn't come true and that we do actually see Tron, but remember, Jarod Leto is the one who heavily pushed for this movie, so it's not too far-fetched to believe that he had involvement in changing the story, such as writing himself as Tron. But let me know what you think of this theory down in the comments. Will Ares become Tron? Will Disney give us the ultimate fake out and have everyone come back to reprise their roles after all? And do you think this movie will just end up being Jarod Leto's fanfic? But most importantly, will Jarod Leto say it's Tron in time as he derezzes a recognizer? Let's get a discussion going down in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and save this video to see if I was right. And as always, thank you for watching.